Hi there everybody, this is a channel update. It's a little bit late, this is supposed to be on the 1st of September, but now it's coming out whenever it's coming out. So, the World at War map is over, and that was the main project of this channel. You could say that the main project of this channel has been World at War mapping since 2012, with an occasional dabble back into, say, Halo or a quick walkthrough. So with the World at War map done, and my venture into World at War mapping also done, there's no real reason for the channel to continue. I'm not going to be cutting the videos out right away, mind you. There's going to be a slow burn out from this channel. This week, the Civilization 5 videos have ended, which is good, because they were kind of boring anyway. And all I really have left now are going to be the Dark Souls playthrough videos and the Half-Life 2 videos. The Half-Life 2 videos are still coming out every other week, but mind you, now there's no second Tuesday show. Because Tokyo is finished, there's nothing else to post every other week. On top of that, we have Dark Souls, which will be coming out still every Thursday. The Dark Souls video I have pre-recorded all the way up to November 9th. And as for the Half-Life 2 videos, they go all the way until January 2nd of 2018. So as I said, it's going to be a slow burnout. However, after these two walkthroughs are done, I'm officially going to be ending the channel. There will be no more videos uploaded to the channel. December will be the last month where music is played. As we all know, I started the music, I believe, last month, or the month before, where every 15th of the month there would be a new music track based on what I've been working on. All the music tracks that have been uploaded so far have all been pretty old, and so in December I've decided I'll upload two of the newest ones, as well as make a final one specifically for the channel, to release on that December 15th of 2017. Now, the main reasons why I'm closing the channel are pretty simple. The channel is a product of 2008, when I was 10 or 11 years old, and I started this channel for animation purposes. And that went on until 2010. I took a hiatus from just about everything in life. Played way too many video games, had no passions, didn't really care about much. Then, out of the blue, in 2012, I decided I'll start a gaming channel, I'll see where it goes. So I started a gaming channel. And by the very, very end of 2012, because I had this addiction to play World at War non-stop, and it lasted until 2014, I decided I would start making maps in World at War. It seemed easy enough, so I went on and I tried. And of course I failed multiple times. You can see all of those attempts with Allied Offensive, which was very fun to work on, and I learned a lot about just level design in general, to the point where I've decided that I kind of want to dabble in it more, but not for games that are already produced. So even though I want to produce my own games, I'd be most likely building prototypes for fun. It got me to do a lot more research on the industry as a whole. Now, because this channel is a product of a more adolescent me, either the just getting out of elementary school all the way up to, graduating high school, which was actually my biggest hiatus of all. I practically spent a year away from the channel because of my senior year in high school. It was incredibly hectic. And my life is getting a lot more hectic again. Currently, I am in college again, taking anywhere between, I think it's 15 to 19 units, but I dropped out of a play that I was going to be in, so now it's 15 units again. Still quite a bit, and I need to focus a lot more on the homework this time around, because the classes that I have are actually homework and textbook reading heavy, which before I could kind of skimp on it and still get a B. Now I need to actually read the stuff in order to get even a C in the classes. So naturally speaking, I'm going to spend a lot more time focusing on that. On top of that, I still work and I still have a full-time job, and going to class 15 to 20 hours a week and then working however many hours they like to assign me. Sometimes they assign me 12 hours a week, sometimes they assign me 50 hours a week. So I'm not entirely sure, and a lot of times they'll call me in like, hey, so I know that we assigned you 12 hours. You want to work 45? Normally I'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure, give me money. But it cuts into time for this, and so of course being able to stop producing stuff for this channel is going to incredibly help me manage my time a lot better in the more real life aspects. Does this mean that I'm going to stop working on game materials in general? Most likely not. And if I do ever get a working prototype or something of that matter, I will upload a video to this channel with a link to send to the other channels. If I do produce another channel, I'll see about it. And that channel will be more specifically focused on prototypes and level design and game design and all that good stuff. Most likely I'll be using Unreal 4. I dabbled between Unreal 4 and Unity 5 for a little bit. I like them both, but Unreal 4 is without a doubt better in the end. If you're going to produce a game of any sort, I would highly recommend Unreal 4, though Unity 5 is pretty good as well, and if you're looking for something more cross-platform, well, not cross-platform, I guess something that's easier to use, because the code in Unity 5 C# is very English-based, so really if you know English, you can easily learn Unity 5, and Visual Studio 2017, the community version, actually has Unity 5 based functions or methods, classes, whatever it is in C# that they use. If you're more into C++ specifically, or if you just kind of want to get into the blueprints style of things, which I'm not really a fan of blueprints. I think it's a really cool idea, but I like my programming, I like my code. But if you're more into that style of making things, then I would more recommend, or just making things look beautiful with less work, go over to Unreal. I do have issues with both engines, being that I really like the way that World at War did handle its map creation, using BSPs as well as patches, terrain patches specifically, which is something that the idTech 3 GTK Radiant does not offer. Was almost genius, I would have to say, in the way that they design everything. And I like that handcrafted feel to levels that you don't get a lot in modern games, especially in open world titles or indie games where people will make giant terrain areas and forget that, you know, sometimes caves are cool, sometimes it's cool to see passes go underneath, but a lot of times people just want a terrain painter. I've worked with a couple of other engines too. I've always wanted to produce a very successful, if you could say, game on FPS Creator. Not necessarily successful in getting a lot of money, but successful in just being good objectively with the engine. Boarded was a good attempt at it, and the first few levels were definitely pretty good, but after, with exception to that second level was just fucking awful. I replayed Boarded the other day because I have the disc. I burned it onto a disc with all the old files, and I was like, huh, I wonder if this is still fun. And I played it, and the first level was great. The voice acting is terrible. The second level is terrible. Third level's good. Fourth level's way too hard. If I could go back and make Boarded again, I would definitely pace out the amount of enemies that I throw at the player, because it was supposed to be 20 levels per... yeah, it was supposed to be 20 levels in the game, and each level is supposed to get progressively harder, but sometimes, oh, it's horrible. Absolutely horrid. But I did work well with the engine's limitations. Before my old hard drive crashed on my laptop, I had another thing that I was producing in that, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. I was using the default enemy AI versus the dark AI. There was two versions. Dark AI was the standard AI that people would use after the 1.18 update because it allowed for allies and enemies to fight each other. However, the standard AI was just simply standard AI, but you could have a more doctored experience if you could give somebody specifically a script that you would only give for snipers, and so they would act in a very specific way. Whereas Dark AI, they all kind of acted the same way, and it would sometimes make some really messy issues performance-wise, and they would defy gravity. They would literally just start floating all around. I would have to go through so much shit just to make sure that the enemies wouldn't start flying through the air, or walking through closed doors, or shooting through closed doors, because Dark AI had a lot of issues with FPS Creator. So I have the newest update of FPS Creator called Game Guru, and I'm probably going to be producing something very basic inside of that. Because it's a similar style of AI that they had, Dark AI, but it's much more complex now, which I like better, and the engine is a lot more powerful in general. The spaces are bigger, and it seems as though it's one of the engines that I could properly use. I'm also, once again, I'm going to be working with Unreal 4, and that's going to be my main task. I have a very specific game idea that I want to produce. Unlike Relic, Relic was mostly inspired by Half-Life 2, which I had thought up of while I was doing the walkthrough of Half-Life 2 for the channel. But it had a mixture of Dead Space aspects to it, and the enemy design of certain characters, and also of the plot twist, which wasn't really much of a plot twist, to be honest. Of course, this new one isn't even an first-person shooter. This idea, it's more like a world-building game with a competitive edge to it, because I know a lot of world-building games do not have competitive edges. And so, whereas in a lot of them, let's just say you're producing a space colony or producing a city, a lot of times it's just city management and making sure that your city is better than the others, or at least it runs well. In this one, you're actually competing against other corporations who have, different AI, or could be other players that are on different parts of the map, and you're not only competing for the growth of your colony faster than the others, but you're also competing for resources and supplies, and can sabotage the others to the point where you can kill off a colony entirely. And if you kill off a colony, the corporation backs out. That's sort of the general idea. But the majority of it isn't even going to be based on the combat. The combat itself is more, you have soldiers for defense and soldiers for attack, and if you want to use your soldiers for attack, you select the area of the enemy colony, or the indigenous population, if you have an indigenous population in the area, to attack, and the soldiers will run out and attack, and they have their own basic AI that functions, and you don't really get control over how the soldiers move. Which I think is fine, honestly, because the majority of the game is built around resource management, and the combat is just an extra throw in there to add a little bit of challenge, because somebody can sabotage your colony. Anyway, that's really all I have to say on that project. And if there is anything that I produce on it, it'll most likely be updated or uploaded to a separate channel, and I'll give a link to the channel on this channel for anybody who's interested. I still haven't recorded all of the Dark Souls videos, mind you. I don't know how long that's going to be going on, but Dark Souls, I'm assuming, is going to be the longest series, not only on this channel, but will be the last series as well. Right now I've recorded 15 parts. It's 15 hours of Dark Souls, and let me tell you, it's been a rough 15 hours. Some of the parts are amazing, some of the parts are horrible. So far, let's see, you guys are going to be getting part 6 soon. When I get to Blighttown, the whole commentary gets really absurd because you can see that I'm really getting angry at the game. You'll start seeing me just scream, I'll scream fuck in the background, or I'll start just kind of yelling. It's a lot of fun to watch, the amount of suicidal comments that I have, but projecting just based on the thing here, I have these sticky notes set up on my wall which shows the videos on what day that they're going to be uploaded and if they're done or not. And so for September, all my videos are done. I don't have to work at all for September or October. November, though, I still have to produce parts 16 and 17 and 18 of Dark Souls. That is a daunting task for me, considering, well, that's 3 more hours. And of course, I'll definitely have time to record 3 hours within the next 2 months. My concern is getting into December, where I then have 19, 20, 21, and 22. I don't think I'll be done with the game after 22 hours. That's a big issue. Not because the game is so hard, because Dark Souls is fucking long. It's ridiculous. Of course, it's fun, mind you. I don't hate a very long game. I think the games that are long are pretty good. And Dark Souls is definitely a solid game in and of itself. It has very few flaws. I don't even see Blighttown, as much as I hated Blighttown, I don't actually see it as a flaw. I do see Sen's Fortress as a little bit overkill in some of the exploration areas because of the increased hardness of it and the cheapness of the enemy placements. But overall, the game is incredibly solid. I'm not necessarily too thrilled about fighting the God Kings, but I know as soon as I fight those God Kings, the game will be pretty close to being over. At least I hope it will be, because I want to have the pride of saying I fucking beat Dark Souls, goddammit. And I really hope that I do get that far, because there are a lot of games where I start and then I just get fed up and I don't finish them. Halo 5, that's a good one. Halo 5, not because it's hard, but because it's just fucking boring. Anyway, that's really all I have to say for the channel. If you don't really know exactly what this part was about, or this channel update was about, let me just sum it up for you. Half-Life 2 walkthrough is going every other week still, and we'll be finishing up on January 2nd, 2018. Dark Souls will be continuing every Thursday. That's about it. Dark Souls may go on for longer than January. We're not sure. Well, I'm not sure. I'm the only one that runs this channel. And as for the music will end in December. No more World at War videos. If I do produce a tutorial, it'll be in the future, because I'm not really thinking about producing one currently. And the channel will be killed after the last walkthrough is finished. Whichever one that is first, Half-Life 2 or Dark Souls. If there is any project that I'm working on that I think would be of interest to the subscribers of this channel, I will produce a video after the channel is killed to another channel that would be focused solely on that design aspect. I have to thank everybody who's been watching for as long as they have. Honestly, I don't even know why I started these. Well, I do remember why I started the walkthroughs, is because I hadn't uploaded anything for Tokyo in a long time, and I was going over to London. I was like, well, shit, they need something to know that I'm still alive. So I did Dead Space. And Dead Space got decent enough traction, if you will, to let me believe that more videos would be better in this vein. However, I am not the biggest fan of producing gaming videos. I don't watch my videos when I produce gaming videos. So I do watch my Tokyo videos when I produce them, though, because I think that they're much more interesting, and of course they are. But that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for anybody that's actually watched this far. I know this is kind of just a ramble, and you all have a wonderful day.
Your team has won the round.